Hello everyone, welcome to ITLS Academy. Our lecture is the manufacture and quality control of immunological products, and this is part 2. In this lecture, we are going to cover production of the bacteria and bacterial components of bacterial vaccines. In our previous lecture, we have covered vaccines and types of vaccines. We have also covered seed lot system. This particular lecture is on the based on production of bacteria and bacterial components of bacterial vaccines. So let's start. The bacteria and bacterial components needed for the manufacture of bacterial vaccines are readily prepared in laboratory media by well-recognized fermentation methods. Fermentation is, we can say that in the first point, the end product of the fermentation, the harvest, is processed to provide a concentrated and purified vaccine components that may be conveniently stored for long periods or even traded as an article of commerce. Fermentation. The production of a bacterial vaccine batch begins with the resuscitation of the bacterial seed, that is the initial culture of bacteria that we have cultured in initial or in the growing phase of bacteria. Bacterial seed contained in an ampule of the seed lot stored at minus 70 degrees centigrade or freeze dried. As we know that after growing bacteria, we had stored them in minus 70 degrees centigrade freezer. The resuscitated bacteria are first cultivated through one or more passages in pre-production media. Then, when the bacteria have multiplied sufficiently, they are used to inoculate a batch of production medium. This is usually contained in a large fermenter, the contents of which are continuously stirred. Usually, the pH and the oxidation reduction potential of the medium are monitored and adjusted throughout the growth period in a manner intended to obtain the greatest bacterial yield. In the case of rapidly growing bacteria, the maximum yield is obtained after about a day. Most of the time, incubation period is about 1 day, or we can say that 24 hours. So, maximum yield is obtained after about a day. But in case of bacteria that grow slowly, the maximum yield may not be reached before 2 weeks. In the case of bacteria that grow slowly, the bacteria whose growth rate is very slow, then the maximum yield will be reached, does not reach before 2 weeks. It will take at least 2 weeks to reach its maximum yield. At the end of the growth period, the contents of the fermenter, which are known as the harvest, are ready for the next stage in the production of the vaccine. Processing of bacterial harvest. The harvest is a very complex mixture of bacterial cells, metabolic products, and exhausted medium. In the case of a live attenuated vaccine, it is innocuous and all that is necessary is for the bacteria to be separated and resuspended in an appropriate menstruum, possibly for freeze drying. In a vaccine made from a pathogen, the harvest may be intensely dangerous and great care is necessary in the following procedures. First one is killing. The process by which the live bacteria in the culture are killed and thus rendered harmless. Phenol is used to kill the Vibrio cholerae in cholera vaccine and the Salmonella typhi in typhoid vaccine. These are examples of killing of bacteria or processing of bacterial harvest by killing. Heat and disinfectants are employed. Heat or formalin are required to kill the cells of Bordetella pertussis used to make whooping cough vaccine. Here it is shown that heat or disinfectant is applied to kill any particular bacteria. Our next process of bacterial harvest is separation. Separation is the process by which the bacterial cells are separated from the culture fluid. Centrifugation using either a batch or continuous flow process is commonly used, but precipitation of the cells by reducing the pH is an alternative. In the case of vaccine prepared from cells, the fluid is discarded and the cells are resuspended in a saline mixture where vaccines are made from a constituent of the fluid and the cells are finally discarded. By this method, separation of bacterial harvest can be done. Third is fractionation. This is also a process of bacterial harvest. The process by which components are extracted from bacterial cells or from the medium in which the bacteria are grown and obtained in a purified form. After purification, a component may be dried to a powder, stored indefinitely, and as required, incorporated into a vaccine in precisely weighed amounts at the blending stage. Next one is detoxification, the process by which bacterial toxins are converted to harmless toxoids. Here, Formalin is used to detoxify the toxins of both Corynebacterium diphtheria and Clostridium tetani. The detoxification may be performed either on the whole culture in the fermenter or on the purified toxin after fractionation. Next one is adsorption. The adsorption of the components of a vaccine onto a mineral adjuvant. The mineral adjuvants or carriers most often used are aluminium hydroxide, aluminium phosphate, and calcium phosphate, and their effect is to increase the immunogenicity and decrease the toxicity, local and systemic, of a vaccine. Diphtheria vaccine, tetanus vaccine, diphtheria tetanus vaccine, and diphtheria tetanus pertussis vaccine are generally prepared as adsorbed vaccine. These are few examples of adsorbed vaccine. These are these may be combination of diphtheria tetanus or maybe only diphtheria vaccine, maybe tetanus vaccine only, and also maybe diphtheria tetanus pertussis mixed vaccine, and all these are known as adsorbed vaccines. Next one is conjugation. The linking of a vaccine component that induces only a poor immune response with a vaccine component that induces a good immune response. The immunogenicity for infants of the capsular polysaccharides of Haemophilus. Okay, now come to quality control. Quality control is a process in which the quality of manufactured product is checked. So let's start the quality control, and we will study how the qualities are and how the process of vaccine manufacture is controlled. The quality control of vaccines is intended to provide assurance of both the efficacy and the safety of every batch of every product. It is executed in three ways. First one is in process control, second one is final product control, and third one is a requirement that for each product is starting material, intermediates, final product, and processing methods are consistent. The results of all quality control tests are always recorded in detail, as in those countries in which the manufacture of vaccines is regulated by law, they are part of the evidence on which control authorities judge the suitability or otherwise of each batch of each preparation. Next one is First point in the quality control is in-process control. So let's discuss in detail in-process control. In-process quality control is the control exercised over starting materials and intermediates. Its importance stems from the opportunities that it provides for the examination of a product at the stages in its manufacture at which testing is more likely to provide the most meaningful information. The World Health Organization requirements and national authorities stipulate many in-process controls, but manufacturers often perform tests in excess of those stipulated, especially sterility tests. Next point is our final product control. First point is vaccines containing killed microbes or their products are generally tested for potency in assay in which the amount of the vaccine that is required to protect animals from a defined challenge dose of the appropriate pathogen or its product is compared with the amount of a standard vaccine that is required to provide the same protection. These logarithmic serial doses of the test vaccine and three logarithmic serial doses of the standard vaccine are made, and each is used to inoculate a group of 16 mice. In the case of both the vaccine and the standard, the middle dose is chosen on the basis of experience so that it is sufficient to induce a protective response in about 50% of the animals to which it is given. Vaccines containing live microorganisms are generally tested for potency by counts of their viral particles. In the case of only live bacterial vaccine in common use, BCG vaccine, dilutions of vaccine are made and dropped in fixed volumes onto solid media capable of supporting the microorganism's growth. Next point is bacterial vaccines are regulated by relatively simple safety tests. Those vaccines composed of killed bacteria or bacterial products, as we have studied in our last slide, must be shown to be completely free from the living microbes used in the production process and inoculation of appropriate bacteriological media, with the final product provides an assurance that all organisms have been killed. Next point is viral vaccines present problems of safety testing for more complex than those experienced with bacterial vaccines. With killed viral vaccines, the potential hazards are those due to incomplete virus inactivation and the consequent presence of residual live virus in the preparation. With attenuated viral vaccines, the potential hazards are those associated with reversion of the virus during production to a degree of virulence capable of causing disease in vaccinee. Vaccinee is the person who is getting doses of vaccine. Immunosera. Immunosera are preparations derived from the blood of animals, usually from the blood of horses. Immunosera derived from or extracted from blood of horse. To prepare an immunoserum, a horse is injected with a sequence of spaced doses of an antigen until a trial blood sample shows that the injections have induced a high titer of antibody to the injected antigen. A large volume of blood is then removed by venipuncture and collected into a vessel containing sufficient citrate solution to prevent clotting. Next point is the quality of immunosera is controlled by potency test and by conventional test for safety and sterility. The potency tests have a common design in that in the case of all immunosera, the potency is estimated by comparing the amount of an immunoserum that is required to neutralize an effect of an homologous antigen with the amount of a standard preparation that is required to achieve the same effect. Next point is serial dilutions of the immunoserum and of a standard preparation are made and to each is added a constant amount of the homologous antigen. Each mixture is then inoculated into a group of animals. These animals usually are guinea pigs or mice, and the dilutions of the immunoserum and of the standard which neutralize the effects of the antigen are noted. Next point is as the potencies of the standard preparations are expressed in IU, the potencies of immunosera are determined in corresponding units per milliliter. Next is human immunoglobulins. First point is human immunoglobulins are preparations of the immunoglobulins, principally immunoglobulin G, that is IgG, that are present in human blood. They are derived from the plasma of donated blood and plasma obtained by plasmapheresis. The immunoglobulins are obtained from the plasma pools by fractionation method that are based on ethanol precipitation in the cold with rigorous control of protein concentration, pH, and ionic strength. Some of the fractionation steps may contribute to the safety of immunoglobulins by inactivating or removing contaminating viruses that have not been recognized by testing of the blood donations. The quality control of immunoglobulins include potency test and conventional test of safety and sterility. The potency test consists of neutralization tests that parallel those used for the potency assay of immunosera, except that in the cases of some immunoglobulins, the assays are made in vitro. The presence of immunoglobulins derived from species other than humans is excluded by precipitin test. Precipitin test is a test that is especially for the detection of immunoglobulins derived from humans. Next one is tailpiece. First point is immunological products, notably vaccines, provide very secure protection from disease caused by small pathogenic entities such as bacterial toxins and many viruses. They provide somewhat less secure protection from larger pathogens such as bacteria and little protection, if any, from much larger pathogens such as malaria parasites. Second point of tailpiece is there thus appears to be rough inverse correlation between the efficacies of vaccines and the sizes of the pathogens from which each vaccine is intended to provide protection. This relationship may reflect the way in which vaccine induced antibodies react with a toxin or pathogen. Small homogeneous Tetanus toxin molecules may be completely invested by tetanus antitoxin molecules and thus wholly neutralized. In contradistinction, malarial parasites may be unaffected by antibodies that attach only to a cell component that is not essential for the parasite's survival. So the guys, our lecture ends over here. Thank you very much for watching this session. Guys, follow ITLS Academy on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp and on LinkedIn. Subscribe ITLS Academy on YouTube and press the bell icon. Guys, you can get it on Google Play Store. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.